The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, there lived an emperor. He had a big round belly, bushy eyebrows, and a very long mustache that curled at the ends. But more than anything, he was very vain. All he thought about was himself. "I am so wonderful," he would say to his reflection every morning. "Look at my wonderful eyebrows. Look at my excellent mustache. I look marvelous." The emperor loved fancy clothes more than anything. He had 400 fancy shirts, 300 pairs of fancy pants, and 1,000 pairs of fancy socks, all in a wardrobe as big as a house. The emperor also loved to say fancy words to sound intelligent. Words like empirical, cantankerous, and discombobulate. He didn't know what they meant, but he liked how they sounded. One day, a man arrived at the palace, claiming to be a tailor. He said he could make the fanciest clothes in the land. But really, this man was a dishonest trickster who fooled rich people for their money. The tailor was brought before the emperor. "Your most majestic and intelligent majesty," he said with a low bow, "everybody knows that you are the most intelligent man in the world." The tailor continued, "And I have created some amazing new clothes. These clothes are magical. They are only for intelligent people. In fact, stupid people cannot even see these clothes at all." The emperor clapped his hands with delight. "Amazing! With these clothes, I can finally know who is smart and who is stupid. I will never be bothered by idiots again. Let me try them on." The tailor led the emperor to a private room and undressed him until he stood only in his underpants. He then took out a tape measure with a great flourish. The tailor measured the emperor's arms, legs, and shoulders. Then he wrapped the tape measure all the way around the emperor's big, round belly, making a note on a small pad. The tailor reached inside one of his suitcases. No, this one is too big," he muttered, before reaching into another. "Ah, this one is perfect." He pretended to lift a beautiful shirt out of the empty suitcase. "What do you think?" said the tailor, holding up nothing at all. The emperor gasped. He stared and stared, but he could not see anything. "Isn't it wonderful?" said the tailor. "And remember, only intelligent people will be able to see it." The emperor began to sweat. Could it be that he was an idiot? The tailor reached into his suitcase again. "Look at these pants. Aren't they beautiful? And they are completely invisible to idiots. And look at this jacket. A complete nincompoop will see absolutely nothing." Oh yes, very nice," stammered the emperor. He was very confused. "Surely I am not a moron," he thought. A moron would not know fancy words like vestibule or crepuscular. But he said nothing. The tailor pretended to dress the emperor in the invisible shirt, pants, and jacket. The emperor stood in front of the mirror. He wanted to see the clothes, but all he saw was his big, round belly and his underpants. "Let me get a second opinion," the emperor declared. He called for his most trusted friend. "What do you think of these new clothes? Only intelligent people can see them." Of course, his friend saw nothing. But not wanting to look stupid, he said, "Oh yes, that is a magnificent shirt." The emperor then called his second friend, who also saw nothing but said, "Yes, the pants are the perfect color." The emperor was thrilled. "I will wear these new clothes in the parade tomorrow." He paid the tailor a huge sum of money, filling the 10 suitcases with gold. That night, the emperor did not sleep. He stayed up late, reading the biggest, heaviest books in his library. "I just need a few more fancy words," he thought. "Then I'll be able to see my clothes." In the morning, 2 servants came to dress him for the parade. Of course, they couldn't see any clothes either, but they said nothing. One pretended to button the invisible shirt. The emperor looked at himself in the mirror. He stared and he squinted. And wait! Out of the corner of his eye, he thought he saw a slight shimmer. He could see the clothes. In reality, there was nothing there. But we often see what we want to see. The emperor stood in his open carriage and waved to the crowd. But as he drove down the street, the crowd fell silent. The music stopped. Everybody just stared. Then, from the back of the crowd, a small child pointed and yelled, "Mummy, I can see his underpants." Everybody gasped. Then a few people giggled, and then the whole street roared with laughter. The emperor heard the crowd laugh. He knew he had been fooled. He was wearing nothing. He jumped out of the carriage and ran all the way back to the palace, his face as red as a tomato, as the crowd chanted, "Underpants."